Now we're going to focus on our third part of invertebrates, which include mollusks and echinoderms. Let's first talk about mollusks. Mollusks refer to soft-bodied animals. Now, these soft-bodied animals usually are covered in some sort of shell, and these shells can actually be hard or soft, but they actually cover and protect the body. Now, mollusks are known to move by three different structures: tentacles found in squid and octopi, a ventral or belly foot by snails or slugs, or a large muscular foot coming out from inside the shell, such as in clams and scallops or mussels. These animals have a mantle. Mantle comes from the Latin referring to a cloak or covering, and this covering can be around the body or it can be on the inside of the shell. It can line the inside of the shell, such as in clams. And this lining can attach to the shell as well. Now, mollusks will respire, which means taking in oxygen, kind of like breathing, and they can do that through gills or lungs. Clams have gills, octopi, squid have lungs. Snails also have lungs. Mollusks will also reproduce through a sexual means. They have different reproductive organs, the gonads, and many of them will have a ciliated larva. A larva would be a baby. The maggot is the larva of a fly. The caterpillar is the larva of a butterfly. So the larva will be ciliated so it can swim and move through the water. Remember, little cilia are the short, many hair-like fibers. Now, mollusks have a circulatory system, and there are two types of circulatory systems. Now, make sure you know a circulatory system is the system that moves blood. The first type of system is going to be a closed circulatory system. That's not going to be the one we're going to focus on today. We have a closed circulatory system. A closed circulatory system keeps the blood within the blood vessels, primarily little capillaries. But an open circulatory system actually empties the blood into a cavity. So the blood leaves the main blood vessels and empties into a cavity for direct contact to the tissues. This is also very important for marine life that lives very deep in the ocean. They don't have to worry about blood pressure, and they don't have to worry about ocean depth, and there's no need for a large amount of oxygen in these deep ocean depths. Now, mollusks do have a nervous system, which is basically a response to stimuli. Most of them have bilateral symmetry. You're going to see that in the octopi and the snail, and some of them have asymmetry like the clam. And they will all have complete digestion, having a separate mouth and anus. There are three mollusk classes that you need to know. Class Bivalva, bi meaning two, so that it has two hinged shells with a muscular foot. This is usually your clams and your oysters and your mussels. Then you have class Gastropoda. Gastro meaning stomach and pod meaning foot. So basically it's a stomach foot. This would be your snail or your slug. Then we have Cephalopoda, and we learned cephalo means head region. So this is a large head with feet. That would be your octopi, your squid, having a large head and tentacles. Let's take a look at all three of these. Bivalva. This page you will need to know the parts of the clam. Some of the parts you need to know are the muscles that hold the clam down. When you boil a clam, it relaxes the muscles, allowing the clam to open when it's dead. You can see the mantle, which lines the inside of the shell. You can see the lined gills. Now it's going to bring water, bring oxygen through the siphons and pass it over the gills and then back out the siphon. On the left side, you can see the muscular foot for movement. And then you can see the palps and mouth. Now the palps are like little mouth parts or little hands that direct things to the mouth. Here's the snail, the gastropod. It's like a large stomach and a foot. Now a snail does have a tongue called the radula, and it's like a little saw. It will actually saw leaves, and other vegetative structures. Then you have cephalopods. You can see the tentacles, but majority of all the organs are in the head. If you take a look at that, you can see the ganglia of the brain. You can see the skull, the digestive system, which includes the crop and different organs. You can see that it has a mantle covering on the top of the head area. You can see the stomach, the gonad, which are the sexual parts, the heart, the kidney, the ink sac, the anus. Everything is in the head. Now let's focus on phylum Echinodermata. Echino refers to spiny. Derm or dermis refers to skin or tissue. So these are spiny skinned animals. These include the sea stars, brittle stars, sea cucumbers, sea urchins, and sand dollars. Now we're going to primarily focus on the sea stars, which was commonly known as the starfish. We're going to focus on the arms of the starfish, specifically the ventral side of those arms have tubed feet, and that's actually how they're going to move, not literally by the arms, but by the 2 feet on the bottom of the arm. Also, what's also ventral or at the bottom is the mouth. So where's the anus? The anus is on the top, the dorsal side, and we'll take a look at that as well. Now, sea stars will regenerate. If they're cut in pieces, they will regrow. So if you cut an arm off a starfish, it will regrow a full body. In the same way, a full body losing an arm will regrow that arm. Now, they can also reproduce sexually through the different male and female sex organs. And they do respire through gills as well. You will need to know this diagram. You can see the mouth is ventral at the bottom. Then we have the stomach. Then we have the anus, which is dorsal. Attaching to the stomach, we have digestive glands. These glands look all mushy if you cut open the arm. But also in the arm, we actually have these radial canals. The radial canals attach to the ring canal. The ring canal surrounds the stomach. Now, these radial canals branch off to each of the arms. The reason why they're called radial canals is because the sea star has radial symmetry. All of these echinoderms will have radial symmetry. And then coming off the radial canals, you have the tubed feet. And that's actually what will be moving, and they're very squishy and soft. You can also see that here. On the left, we have the dorsal side. On the right, we have the ventral side. Here's a sea star, brittle star, sea cucumber, sand dollars, and sea urchin.